My husband's new assistant kept calling him babe, by accident. Suspicious, I pretended to be his new client and scheduled a business dinner. When she showed up, expecting him, she found me sitting there instead. Before she could speak, I said, "Oh, don't worry. He's on his way. With his wife." Her eyes widened as he walked in, holding my hand. My husband, Nate, not his real name, owns a small marketing firm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's not a massive company, but it does well enough to support us comfortably. We've been married 12 years, no kids. Things were stable. Maybe even boring, if I'm being honest. 6 weeks ago, he hired a new assistant. Her name is Kayla. She's 26. Blonde. Tall. The kind of girl that posts gym selfies and brunch pics with captions like "Rise and Grind." You know the type. The first time I heard her say, "Babe," I thought I was hearing things. I was home that day because my work schedule shifted. I freelance in publishing, so I work from home a lot. Nate had a Zoom meeting at 10 a.m., and Kayla was over early to prep notes and do a walkthrough of the deck they were presenting. They were in the kitchen talking. I was down the hall. She handed him a coffee and said, "Clear as day, here you go, babe." Silence. No laugh. No correction. No awkward, "Oops, I meant boss." Just nothing. A few seconds later, I heard the clink of the mug on the counter, and the conversation continued like nothing happened. I walked into the room, pretending I hadn't heard. She looked startled. Nate acted completely normal, kissed me on the cheek like always. I smiled, but something felt off. I let it slide the first time. The second time, I was dropping off his dry cleaning at the office. Kayla was in the front. Nate was in a meeting, so I figured I'd just hand the clothes to her. As I was walking away, I heard her on the phone with someone. Probably him, because she said, "Okay, babe, I'll grab lunch in 20. It wasn't a term she used with everyone. I watched her speak to another employee later. All, "Yes, sir," and on it. No babe. No nicknames. So I started paying attention, checking his messages when I could, watching how he acted when she was around. Nate was never super into his phone. Lately, he started locking it, turning it over on the table, taking it into the bathroom, which he never did before. There were little things too. He was working late more often, wearing cologne on random Tuesdays, smoothing his shirt before video calls. Just different. I asked about Kayla one night while we were watching TV. "She seems sweet," I said. He shrugged. "Yeah, she's good. Learn fast. Bit chatty." That's it. That's all he said. I started spiraling. I knew something was wrong, but I had zero proof. I didn't want to blow up our marriage over a hunch. So I came up with a plan. I made a fake email and created a LinkedIn profile to match. I posed as a potential client looking for marketing help. It wasn't hard. I used AI tools and a business name generator and set up a Gmail with a legit-sounding company. I kept it vague, looking for help with branding and relaunching our service model. Nothing too detailed. I emailed Nate's firm directly. Not to him, but to the general inquiries address that Kayla usually checks first. A day later, I got a response from Kayla. She was polite, said she'd love to meet and talk over dinner. She suggested a trendy restaurant uptown, said it was a more relaxed setting for this type of pitch. She even offered to make the reservation. I pretended to be excited, told her I'd be there. She had no idea who I was. The dinner was last Friday. I got there 30 minutes early, asked the host to seat me in a spot where I'd see people come in. Ordered a glass of wine and waited. At 6:57 p.m., Kayla walked in. She was dressed for a date, not business. Low-cut black dress, heels, full makeup. Hair curled. She looked around, clearly expecting a man. She didn't see me at first. She walked up to the host, gave the name. He pointed at me. She turned. We locked eyes. Her smile dropped so fast it almost made me laugh. She slowly walked over and stood beside the table, frozen, clutching her purse like a shield. I looked up at her and smiled. "Oh, don't worry," I said. "He's on his way, with his wife." She blinked. No words. Her mouth opened slightly like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. Just then, Nate walked in. He was holding my hand. The look on Kayla's face? Pure panic. But the look on his face? Confusion. Then realization. Then panic. That's where I'll pause for now. If you've made it this far, thank you. I have more to tell, but I need to take a break. Things have only gotten messier from this point on. Nate stood there, still holding my hand, frozen. Kayla looked like she was going to either faint or bolt. "Sit," I said calmly, like I wasn't shaking inside. "Both of you." Neither of them moved. So I pulled out the chair beside me and gave Kayla a look. She slowly sat. I didn't even have to ask Nate. He sat too, right across from me. No one said anything at first. The server came by with a forced smile. "Still deciding or ready to order?" "We'll need a minute," I said. He nodded and left quickly. I looked at Kayla. "So, you thought you were meeting a new client?" She stared at the table, face burning red. I didn't know it was you." "I thought you thought it was a date," I said bluntly. "Didn't you?" Nate finally spoke. "What is this? What the hell is going on?" I turned to him. "That's what I want to know." He started to talk, but I cut him off. "She called you babe at the house. Twice. I heard it. You didn't correct her. You didn't even flinch. Then she called you that on the phone. You've been acting different for weeks." I knew something was up. Nothing happened," he stammered. "It's not like that." "Then what is it like?" I asked. "She's dressed like she was expecting more than a client. She made a dinner reservation for business? Wearing that?" Kayla finally looked up, eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean for it to go this far. That sentence hit me like a slap. This far. So there was a this. Nate looked at her. Kayla, her eyes went wide. "You told me you weren't happy," she said quickly. "You said you and your wife were basically roommates now. That you were going to leave her after the holidays." I turned to Nate slowly. "You told her that?" He didn't answer. My heart was pounding so loud I couldn't hear for a second. I stared at him, waiting, daring him to say something, anything that made this make sense. But he just sat there, face pale. "That wasn't supposed to come out like that," Kayla whispered, realizing too late that she said it in front of both of us. I looked at her. "You knew he was married. You met me. You smiled in my face. I thought, he told me things were over between you two. He said it was just paperwork at this point." I never would have. "Stop," I said. I didn't want to hear her try to make herself the victim. "Not here. Not in front of me." Nate leaned forward, elbows on the table. "It wasn't serious. We didn't sleep together. That didn't help." "You were planning to," I said. "You made dinner plans. You told her you were leaving me. That's emotional cheating at best and lying at worst." Kayla started crying quietly, shoulders shaking. "I told him not to lie to you," she said between sobs. "I told him to be honest. He said he just needed more time." I stood up. "I hope this meal is on the company card," I said, picking up my purse. "Since it's technically still business, right?" Neither of them said a word. I walked out, but it didn't stop there. Part 3, unraveling. By the time I got home, my head was spinning. I didn't want to cry. I wanted to scream. He got home an hour later. Alone. I was already on the couch, drink in hand, TV off. Just staring at nothing. He walked in like he didn't know what to say. Like he expected me to already be halfway through a meltdown. I wasn't. I was calm. "Cold. Talk," I said. He sat down across from me, rubbing his face like he wanted to disappear. "It didn't start as anything," he said. "She was just fun to talk to. You and we haven't really been connecting lately." I didn't even flinch. "And you thought playing boyfriend to your assistant would fix that?" He didn't answer. "She made it sound like you were planning to leave me." He nodded slowly. I thought about it. Honest. Finally. But not the kind of honest that helps. I felt stuck, he went on. Like our life just flattened. Work, dinner, sleep. Repeat. No passion. No fights. No fire. And instead of telling me, I said quietly, you told her. He didn't respond. There's more, I added. Isn't there? He looked up at me, confused. I went through your phone last week. He froze. I saw the texts. The ones you deleted. You didn't do a great job hiding them. I backed up everything. Screenshots too. There were dates in those messages. Nights you told me you were working late. His jaw clenched. I'm not stupid, Nate. Still, he said nothing. Part 4. The twist I didn't see coming. I was planning to leave. Quietly. Without drama. But the universe had other plans. 2 days after the dinner, Kayla showed up at our house. At first, I didn't even open the door. I thought it was a delivery. But she knocked again. Harder. I opened it. There she stood. Pale. Shaky. Hair tied up. No makeup. Not the same Kayla. I need to talk to you, she said. I didn't move. Please. It's important. Against my better judgment, I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. I quit, she said. I sent in my resignation yesterday. Good, I replied. There's something I didn't tell you, she said. That night at the dinner. Nate wasn't supposed to come. I was. That threw me off. What do you mean? I made the reservation, she said, but Nate wasn't part of it. He didn't know about the dinner. I told him I had a client dinner, but I didn't tell him with who. I was going to tell you everything that night. I stared at her. Why? Because I found out I'm pregnant, she whispered. Silence. She looked down. I was going to tell him that night, and tell you too. I thought you should both know. My knees almost gave out. I turned and walked back inside without another word. And now I'm here, writing this. No ending yet. Because I don't know what I'm going to do. Not anymore. You got it. Here's the next continuation of the story, with more sharp twists, raw emotion, and keeping everything consistent with what's already been laid out. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Pregnant? With his baby? The math in my head started racing. Kayla had only been working with Nate for 6 weeks. That meant either they moved fast, or something wasn't adding up. The next morning, I went into full detective mode. Checked his calendar, his old messages, even his parking receipts from the work app they used to track client visits. That's when I found something strange. A hotel booking. 2 weeks before Kayla was even hired. It was under his name. A mid-range place, not too fancy, but not sketchy either. One night. Charlotte City Center. The location made no sense. It was 15 minutes from our house. I confronted him that evening. He was sitting on the porch, trying to act normal. Like we didn't have a nuclear bomb ticking under our roof. What's this? I asked, tossing the printed receipt on his lap. He picked it up, scanned it, then looked at me. You went through my stuff again? Answer the question, I snapped. He didn't answer right away. Then he sighed. It was a mistake. Just a night. It wasn't Kayla. That made me stop. What do you mean it wasn't Kayla? He rubbed his eyes. It was someone else. Before her. My chest tightened. You've done this before? He didn't respond, but the silence was loud. How many? I asked. He still wouldn't look at me. I pushed harder. How many, Nate? 2, he said finally, voice low. Before Kayla. I stepped back like I'd been hit. You told Kayla we were over. You told me it was just emotional. And now you're telling me this has been going on for longer than I even knew. He looked like a cornered animal. I was lost. You stopped seeing me. I didn't feel like I mattered anymore. Oh, so I'm the reason you cheated? Repeatedly. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it felt like we were roommates. Like you didn't want me. I stared at him, disgust building in my throat. You're unbelievable, I said. And what about the baby? He looked confused. Kayla, I said. She came here yesterday. She told me she's pregnant. His face went completely blank. No, he said flatly. She's lying, he added. She has to be. She didn't look like she was lying. He shook his head. No. I always used protection. Always. She's bluffing. You want to be the guy who calls a pregnant woman a liar? He didn't respond. Part 6. Kayla's truth. I called Kayla the next day. I wasn't doing it for him. I needed the truth. For me. We met at a coffee shop near her apartment. She looked worn out. No makeup. Hoodie and leggings. Not the picture-perfect assistant she had been at work. I told him, she said as soon as we sat down. And? He called me a liar. Said it couldn't be his. I waited. I took a test. I'm not making this up, she said. I didn't do this to trap him. I found out after everything started unraveling. I didn't even want to tell him. But I thought he deserved to know. I looked at her. When did it happen? She hesitated. Honestly, it was the second week I started working there. He invited me to a hotel after drinks. I said no at first. But I was stupid. Flattered. He told me I was different. That he'd never felt seen before. And you believed him? She looked away. I did. For a while. Until that dinner. When you said his wife, it hit me. He wasn't leaving you. He was never going to. That part one believed. And now you're stuck, I said. She nodded. I don't even want him anymore, she said quietly. I'm terrified. I might be raising this baby alone. I left without saying much more. Part 7. The final twist. For now, I was planning to separate. I had already looked at apartments. I had money saved. I even had a lawyer in mind. But then something happened that I didn't see coming. A message. On Facebook. From a woman I didn't recognize. Her name was Eliza. She lived in Raleigh. The message started with, "Hi. You don't know me, but I think your husband might know my sister." Turns out, her sister used to work with Nate at another agency years ago. The stories she shared? Same pattern. Same promises. Same emotional crap about roommates, about not feeling seen. Eliza's sister ended up in therapy because of the emotional wreck he left her in. I asked for proof. She sent screenshots. Old texts. A photo of them together, Nate's hand around her waist. It was dated 5 years ago. He's been doing this for a long time. Longer than I realized. No ending yet, that's where I'm at. A husband who's cheated more than once. An assistant who's possibly pregnant with his child. And now women coming out of the woodwork to warn me. I haven't confronted him with this last part yet. I'm waiting. Because when I do, I want him to know everything is on the table now. No more secrets. No more lies. This story doesn't have an ending yet. But it will. I waited 3 days. I needed to be sure. I needed to have every piece of the puzzle before I pulled the whole thing apart. I invited Nate to dinner. At home. Just us. I cooked. Set the table like I used to. Lit candles. Played our old playlist softly in the background. The one we used on road trips when we still talked for hours. He walked in, surprised. "What's all this?" "Sit," I said. "We're going to talk." He looked nervous. Sat slowly, waiting. I didn't waste time. "I've talked to Kayla. I know about the pregnancy." He swallowed hard. "She's keeping it," I added. "And she says it's yours." He tried to speak. I held up a hand. "I also talked to Eliza. From Raleigh. You remember her sister? The one from your old job." Silence. "She told me you used her. Lied to her. The same lies. The same pattern." Still nothing. I pulled out a folder. Set it on the table. Screenshots. Hotel receipts. The messages I saved. All of it. "You've been doing this for years, Nate." He stared at it. At me. No expression. No fight left. "I gave you 12 years, I said, voice shaking. "I put everything into this marriage. I believed in you. He finally spoke. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed. Actually laughed. That's what you're going with. After all of this. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. Not yet. You weren't just some man who messed up once, I said. You built a life of lies. With different women. While you sat across from me at dinner and asked how my day was. He looked down. And then, quietly, he said something I didn't expect. I don't know who I am without this. That broke me. Are you hearing yourself? He nodded slowly. I'm broken. I know I am. You could have told me. You could have asked for help. For counseling. For a break. Anything but this. He didn't respond. That was the moment I knew. There was nothing left to save. He slept in the guest room that night. The next morning, I started packing. He cried, begged, promised therapy, promised change. Said he'd go to rehab if I asked. Whatever it took. But it was too late. Kayla texted me later that day. She said Nate had reached out, asking for a paternity test. That he'd offered to pay for everything if it was his. She also said she didn't want him in the baby's life. She was done. I just want peace, she wrote. And I hope you find it too. My sister came over to help me move. She didn't say much. Just hugged me tight and helped box up 12 years of my life. One of Nate's friends, Mike, dropped by, tried to talk to me. You really think walking away is the answer? He asked. Yes, I said. This is the answer to his choices. He shook his head. He's a mess. He needs help. So let him get it, I said. But I'm not his rehab. It's been 3 months. I have my own place now. Small apartment in a quiet neighborhood. I sleep better here. Nate sends texts sometimes. Apologizing. Updates about his progress. I read them. I don't answer. Kayla's off social media. I heard through a friend she moved in with her sister. She's due in 7 months. I haven't talked to her since. Some nights, I sit on my tiny balcony with a glass of wine and just breathe. There's no rage anymore. No panic. Just stillness. Sometimes sorrow visits me in waves, when I find an old photo or hear a song we once danced to in the kitchen. But mostly, I feel free. I don't regret confronting him. I don't regret leaving. What I regret is not listening to myself sooner. The little whispers that something was wrong. I ignored them for too long. I know now, love without respect isn't love. It's a slow death. And I'm finally choosing to live. You don't always get the closure you want. But sometimes, the truth is the closure. And I can live with that.